Hi, this is the Lourdes Chris show. This brilliant woman to my left is my gorgeous wife. She's amazingly beautiful. You don't even have to tell me. I know. Right now I'm talking, but you're not looking at me. No, you're looking at her. And I don't blame you. I do it all the time. Lourdes is also super duper smart. So she's got a lot of knowledge to throw you away. You might want to check that out. So I love my wife, Lourdes. She's the one that's right next to me. And I'm more excited than a puppy with a new carpet to pee on.
No, don't let the puppy be on your new carpet.
You can't help it.
Well, some can. I think it just depends on I don't know. Anyway.
Seems to me every puppy we ever had, they sought it out. Yeah. What is the nicest carpet in the house? They said to themselves.
Well, I think it's because they're trying to market it as their own.
They like it. You know, the high end carpets for sure. They must be soft on the pads. They're just thinking to themselves, "That's mine. I want me some of that action."
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is my husband, Chris, who I dearly love. Who, you know, honestly, he is not only intelligent, but sometimes nutty. And that nuttiness, really, I don't know. I enjoy it.
Candy bars and this guy have got a lot in common. I got that nutty goodness.
Yeah.
Although candy bars, I don't know about the intelligence of them. So maybe a better analogy. Yeah. Maybe a mad scientist. So look, the reason why I'm so excited today is because every time we get to have this show, I'm super duper excited. And today's topic is something that's actually really close to Lourdes and I both. But before we talk about that, I do want to thank our good friend and partner to the show, Dr. Newsom, our in-house medical doctor. Doc Newsom is amazing.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, all that. You know, you do like that word.
Chips.
You do like that word.
Well, you know what it is? Because I like the word extraordinary because that is what he is. And when someone is that, I mean, when they do that extra of ordinary stuff, you know, they make ordinary look boring. And then you go, I want to be like him.
Yeah, no, when I grow up, I want to be like Dr. Newsom.
I tell you, he really is that word. I mean, honestly, when you look at everything he's done and what he continues to do to help people. In fact, you should follow him also on social media, Facebook.
Oh, sure.
Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
Yeah.
And of course, his website, drnewsom.com.
Of course, drnewsom.com.
Yes. The information he shares on a daily basis, and we're not just talking like your intake of food and stuff, but even down to how the body runs.
He was just talking about the functions of liver the other day, and it's just like, yes, that's really important for us to know that.
Which we've always shared, you know, that the liver does like over 500 functions, and he breaks down like 500, you know, he breaks down these different things that the liver does and the importance of it and why, if something's not working, what it can do. I mean, he's amazingly extraordinary.
He is extraordinary, and that's why we absolutely love Dr. Newsom. And if you go to drnewsom.com and you put in promo code Lourdes and Chris, you do get 50% off your order for all of his products. And we wholly endorse his products because not only have we tried them, we've recommended it to other people. And universally speaking, everybody loves his products.
Yes, I have not found one person who has complained about any of his products.
Ain't that the truth?
Literally go on talking. I mean, they'll contact us like, I love his Inflamagon. They like the Super Earth Energy. They love
Super Digest.
Yeah. And I love not just all those three, but I also like the gut health.
Yes.
I like what we use for my mom because we got her on root brands and stuff. But one of the things that we marry that with is the brain health.
Sugar metabolizer
for the blood sugar. I mean, we also give her gut health as well.
Yeah.
And Super Digest.
Yes.
And so we keep her going. It just works so well. And we always buy it.
Yeah, no, we absolutely love Dr. Newsom and his products. And so if you go to drnewsom.com or Newsom's Naturals and use promo code Lourdes and Chris at checkout, then you're going to get 15% off.
15% off.
So for those of you that have not tried his products yet, that's 15% off to give it a go. And for those of you that already know how amazing it is, take that 15% off and run, man. Right? Yeah. We also want to thank those of you who have joined us on the lourdesandchrisshow.com. We have our website, so if you haven't stopped by there yet to say hello, do so. We say hello back. All of our previous episodes are listed on there, and some of the subsequent pages on there also have the products that we absolutely love. Of course, Dr. Newsom is on there, but other things like Root Brand, the water, the hydrogen water,
the pillow. You know, we have everything that we trust and know is excellent for you when it comes to your health. It is important that what we do in, on, and around our bodies, that it's always, building and keeping us healthy, not knocking us down.
Right on. Right on.
Right on.
So tonight's episode, we're going to be breaking down the whole caregiver conversation. And before we get into that, let me just pause for 1 second to get something set up. So this week, we're breaking down our conversation about being a caregiver. And it's near and dear to our heart because, when...
It's important, though. I mean, it really is important. It is dear to our heart because we are dealing with it right now.
Well, absolutely. We're dealing with it right now with regards to your mother.
Yes.
But my first brush with it, well, no, that's not true either. It wasn't even you. It was our daughter, Christina, when she was sick and she had all those stomach problems when she was younger.
Yeah.
And we basically had to stay up nights with her and make sure she
Mhm.
was okay. And one of the most profound things I've ever heard about the whole caregiving conversation was when my dad was really super sick with his COPD and whatever else was going on with him. He was dying. A lot of people would reach out to my mom, and part of their condolences was, geez, it's so tough you're going through this. Maybe in the end there'll be peace for him and this and the next thing. But my mom always said, listen, the work is hard. It is.
It is.
But I'd rather do the work and have them alive next to me than the alternate.
Yeah.
So you'd rather have that loved one next to you than the alternative. And that's what it always comes down to us. Now, I really got into being a caregiver when Lourdes got sick.
You did?
Yeah. Basically, as a caregiver, I had to be Lourdes' eyes, ears,
My legs.
her legs, her hands sometimes. There was one time you were trembling so bad you couldn't put makeup on. We were on our way to
Yes.
a film premiere for a documentary that Lourdes was in about cancer, actually. And it's called Cancer in the System. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. It's a great film.
Yes.
But Lourdes was featured in that documentary. And so she went to put on makeup and her hands were trembling so greatly.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, I was like battling cancer,
Right.
and
Full blown.
Yeah, full blown cancer. But it was funny because it wasn't funny, but it was just odd that if I try to put on lashes, my hand was going like it was just like
Right.
I couldn't just put them on, so I went without lashes.
Well, and I've never put lashes on somebody before, much, myself for sure, but much less somebody else. And so I did attempt. And after, I think 2 tries, we were like, no, best thing to be.
Leave it alone.
At least Lourdes still has her eyes and her eyesight. So let's leave that alone. So it just went without lashes that night. But it's the little things like that that start to build up on you when it comes to being a caregiver. And I think it's the ultimate expression of love.
Yeah.
To be in a space and to be a stand for somebody else, to be their caregiver.
And I think also it needs to be understood that because it's not easy, we are still human, and we are going to still we're going to physically and emotionally feel things that go.
As always, Lourdes likes to jump into the next section
do.
before we're done talking about the first section. Yeah, no, but she's not wrong though. There are times where it's really challenging, and we're going to talk about how to kind of build a network around yourself on your own, so that you have somebody who's helping you. Yeah,
what it takes to be a caregiver.
There's an amazing quote that we've used 100 times. I'm not even sure where it came from, but this quote says something like, "It takes a village to raise a child." It kind of takes a village to be a caregiver as well.
Yes.
I had people in my life that were there for me as I was there for you.
Right.
Our daughters and friends,
Yes,
and for sure friends at work that were there for me. They understood. Just sounding board more than anything. But we'll get into that in the next segment. Right now, we're just kind of breaking down what it means to be a caregiver and what that means to us. And so I think, like I said, it's the ultimate expression of love for somebody else outside of yourself to be their caregiver, especially for that capacity.
The word in itself, care. You're
Mhm.
caring for them.
Mhm.
When someone says, "I really care about you," that really is where you show it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're giving that actual care.
So I know that when Lourdes was sick, I was her primary caregiver. There were times where I had to be her voice as well because you had the tube in your throat. What I'm saying is the challenges seem to just keep mounting again and again and again. And
I think also when, as a caregiver, like you had to be my voice when I couldn't speak,
right.
But during that time, you already knew what I expected, what I would not allow.
So
and it's very important because
you would think this segment was done on purpose, this little segue she's doing here, but it wasn't. She just organically came to it. But yes, what we were going to say is that at the front of this, make sure that your loved ones understand your wishes when it comes to what it means to have care given to them.
Yeah,
and
it should definitely be before you are in a situation, because a lot of times you can't even think straight when you're in a situation.
I know that conversation has to happen while everybody is healthy and alert. Maybe it's a hard conversation for some people to have, but if you don't express your wishes to your loved ones, they're going to go by what they feel is best, and maybe it's not what you really want.
Exactly. And at that time, because you're so ill, you may not even, you don't have the bearings at the time to really express what you really would have wanted, so
Yes.
that it could got done exactly accordingly. Because I mean, I know even for my mom, that was the same thing.
Yes.
She made it very clear way before she was in the situation she was in,
Mhm.
that anytime something occurred, she expected me to step in to help her, because she trusted everything that
Yep.
I would do. She saw the results when she was doing good, and anything would occur that when I did something, the difference between what I did and what she did when she had a pill.
Yeah.
So before she ever got really bad, she was very clear, and she told it. She always shared it with everyone.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, there wasn't a sibling in my family that
I
didn't
knew
do
about it. She was
friends, repeatedly always said, she always say this is my doctor, but she means, for her doctor
Yeah.
means the person that's caring for her, the one that she trusts, is going to get her where she needs to be health wise. And so she's always made it clear. It's like, something ever happens to me, you are to take care and make those decisions. You know what is best for me. I've seen you do it. I've experienced it. And she's told that to me a million times, to all the rest of my siblings a million times, to my brother, to my nephews and nieces and friends and her neighbors. They all knew this. So
the postman knew it.
you know what I
He would
mean?
drop off her mail, and she would tell him, and he'd be like, "All right, here's your mail."
But and that's the beauty, is that when you make it very clear when all your bearings are there, that when your bearings aren't there, no matter what comes up, you know that the reason those things are occurring, the bearings aren't there.
Yeah.
But you do know what they really wished when things were there.
Right.
And then you make sure that you do exactly as she said,
And then
or he said,
on
or whatever.
and then on a much grander spectrum, you also want to make sure that your philosophies are understood. And what I mean by that is that we've had some people that Lourdes has advocated for after the fact, and the caregiver made decisions that they thought was the right decision because the doctor scared them into it, or
They trusted. Well, it's the training they've had.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't mean like they went to school to get trained in that thing, but I mean more like when your belief is so strong because this is all you've been told, and you've ever went outside of that, you're going to trust that.
Yeah. So, for example, Lourdes and I had conversations when we were first together over 20 years ago now. Oh, isn't that nice?
Look at that.
Yeah. We had conversations together where we were basically, we would say, look, I was clear that Lourdes was not one of those do not resuscitate people. She said, no, resuscitate me.
Yep.
Again and again and again and again. That's my wish.
You're like, her body's mush.
Yep.
You resuscitate.
Keep her going. Keep her going. And I think that comes from the fact that a lot of people don't know this. So it's kind of an interesting thing to bring up. Lourdes was a caregiver professionally. I forgot all about this when you worked at the Ann Kiley Center.
Yeah. All folks that actually work there, that's what they do. They are taking care of. Yeah. It's, there's a title for it. Like when I was there, I was a mental health technician. And a mental health technician took care of people that mentally were disabled, physically were disabled, and they had a lot of health issues,
right.
From seizures onward to all these things. And we had to learn how to take care of them. We needed to learn even their behaviors, how to, protect ourselves without harming them, how you take them from one bed to another, what you needed to do to take care of them if they were, like they were wheelchair bound. We were trained to the level of, even if we didn't, have the medical license, we were trained in doing even resuscitating.
Yep, CPR, all that.
All of it. So we were trained to that level, and in fact, you didn't just get trained to take care of them and feed them, and there was diets and special diets and all of these things. But at the same time, you were also taught that if, someone is, because they definitely resuscitated.
Yeah, sure.
Regardless.
Yeah.
So all that training was important because you had to know what you need to do at that moment, because things would happen that you were like, okay, they're in the middle of a seizure, but they're turning purple. They went from blue to purple, and now they're going black.
Yeah.
You need to know what to do immediately. So all those things are training. So it's interesting that even with all that, people will still be like, you don't have the training. It's like, I've been trained in a lot of things.
Yeah, it's fair. And then, those people that are in that environment, that are literally caregivers professionally, and that's what their job is. I mean, they hats off to you folks. I looked at it as a potential for me, and it just seemed like it was too much. So I said no. But for the rest of you that are at it, your brother retired from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there for a very long time.
So it's that type of mentality that goes into it, I think. And I think that's very telling that you wound up with a career like that for a little bit of the time, that you were actually in making a stand and caring for others. It speaks to who she is as a
And it's
person.
interesting because, a lot of people they did the 9 to 5 and then they were gone, even though it was really 6 to 3.
Sure.
I should say 6:30 to 3. It was that kind of, shift in the morning. Well, that was my shift. So it was a really early morning. Then it's, you have the third shift, second shift, and all those. But I got to say that it didn't end there for me. Like, even though that was my shift,
Mhm.
I always came, extra early before my shift started because I wanted to make sure that there were certain things that I wouldn't have been able to do completely
Right.
with the time that we were given. So I would just give up some of my time and get there early enough to do those things.
Mhm.
And then even when, if my shift was over, I still always did extra because I felt that's what they needed. They didn't need someone that just clocked in and clocked out. They needed someone who really cared. And
Yeah.
so I got attached to a lot of them there. It was just, like they become, even though they were adults, they became like children to me.
Sure.
Like I was their mom. I don't know. It was so you do get close to them and you really, they become your family. And so I always did that extra.
Yeah, and we'll get back to the full circle of what that looks like now because Lourdes is kind of right back where she was. But we're going to take a break because that's how we roll. And we want you to see Dr. Newsom's amazing products. So give us one moment. We'll be right back and check out Doc Newsom. Super Earth Energy.
Super Earth Energy.
For nearly 2 decades, Dr. Newsom was developing this formula.
This one.
2 decades of his life, nearly 2 decades.
I mean, that's really dedication to giving you the best quality of a supplement that's going to give you not only energy, I mean, it improves adrenal and,
Well, so it improves your adrenal and muscle fatigue.
Yep.
It actually helps with chronic fatigue syndrome, a compromised immune system, sleep deficit, brain fog.
which many are experiencing a low sexual desire. I mean, this 2 decades, there's a reason. He put a great formula together. He formulated, and it's just amazing. Like, we love it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It's like we were just telling our daughter the other day. It's not like it gives you like a caffeine jittery feeling. It's more like you're just awake.
Yeah, like, when you were a kid and
Right.
you didn't feel, kids they seem to not get tired. So it's kind of that. You don't go, oh, I feel like all this caffeine. It's none of that because I personally can't do caffeine. It
Right.
really, it causes me nausea, migraines. I just can't do caffeine. But I take this and I just don't feel tired. Like, I can spend a whole day really getting a lot of things done and not feel exhausted or I have to take a nap or I still do my meditation stuff, but oh my gosh, amazing.
It's because it's giving you energy at a cellular level. Now, all you have to do to get this product is go to www.drnewsom.com and look for Super Earth Energy. We've got it ourselves, but
Yeah.
we should do a little, like, still show them what that bottle looks like. And
Yes.
there it is, Super Earth Energy. That's right. Go to drnewsom.com.
Yes. drnewsom.com. In fact, right here, we see the link.
Oh, see, now I got to put it there. I
That's
was
right.
going to put it there now, but now it's got to be there.
Or he can still put it here, but definitely here.
It's going to be 2 places now.
Super Earth Energy. And we're back.
I was just, you let her have it.
I'm just gonna say it. He doesn't notice this, like he'll purposely try to smile, but when he does this natural smile, I love it because there's like this little twinkle in his. I don't know. It's like you smile with your eyes. I just think it's the cutest thing.
Yeah, you got to get to know me. I'm amazing.
If he only smiled more like that all the time, I'd be like, oh, I wanted to squeeze him.
I can't take good smiles. I can't give good smiles when somebody's gonna take a picture. It's like,
I know, but then when you do just this natural smile, it's like, ah.
you got to naturally make me smile. That's the trick.
That's
That's
what,
the
yeah.
trick. So, anyways, yeah, Dr. Newsom's Super Earth Energy. For him to have spent nearly 20 years, nearly 2 decades to get that just right.
Just right. I mean,
Speaks to who he is as a
yes.
human being.
And he did it because he wanted to make sure that what product he gave out to his patients was top notch,
Mhm.
like truly like one of the best qualities. And his products are really all of them.
Yeah.
So I love
Of
Super
the
Earth
highest
Energy.
quality, he hasn't cut
Yes.
any corners. Super Earth Energy
None.
falls under that umbrella easily. You know, the thing about it is that the common sense that goes into it as well. Okay, so here's the thing. Doc Newsom is super smart. I mean, there's no denying
Oh,
that.
yeah.
There's no denying that. But there's also a level of, you know, how you get someone who's super duper smart and they just don't have that common sense. The common sense approach that he does to his stuff too, it speaks volumes to who he is as a person. Because look, he created this because he knows that the mitochondria are the power cells that run the power houses
House.
that run the cells. And, you know, obviously the cells make up your different
Yeah.
functions of the body and organs. And
Which you want to make sure that the mitochondria is really good, because
right.
as the mitochondria shrinks in the cell, right,
Mhm.
that ages you.
Yep.
So you want to make sure that everything's good and built so it stays, you know, it either gets longer or it stays where it's at, but you don't want it to
There's
like
a trick
shrink.
that I learned in middle school about mitochondria. Whenever we had to take a test about it, when they were like, because the test would be like the powerhouse of the cell. The trick was mighty mitochondria. You just had to think mighty mitochondria. That was the trick there. I still to this day, 8th grade, I remember that mighty mitochondria. That's because it's the powerhouse of the cell. Anyways, little side note. Before we went on to break, we had kind of discussed that Lourdes had, for a time, been a professional caregiver, you know, to these people that needed our assistance.
Medical, what was it? A mental health technician.
That's right. And you know, you found reward in that, which is yeah, which is its own thing about being a caregiver. Is there is a reward to it. I mean, I'm not going to say there's not. I
Yeah.
grew closer to Lourdes when I literally had to help her with her butt stuff and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? When I had to like wipe her and get past that old gagging thing, there was a closeness you couldn't deny.
You do get close to people. I mean, I think there is something about that when you're taking care of them, no matter what age they are, they just become like your, I don't know, there's a connection,
Right.
just like a baby.
A bond.
There's a strong bond there. And if there's not, something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you just do. And I think we bonded even more. I mean, we were crazy in love with each other then,
Mhm.
and we just bonded even more because of those things. You know, and I think that's what it is. It's even with, you know, like my mom. I've always been close to my mom though, so it's like even as a kid, it's like
Yeah. No, I remember.
I would bawl my eyes out. She'd go out somewhere, and so a lot of times she would take me with her because out of all her 5 kids, I was the one that would lose my mind.
Yeah.
Even though I was one of the youngest, I wasn't the youngest,
Right.
and I still was the, you know, the one that she
The
brought along.
neediest. So
I just loved her. I wanted to be next to her all the time.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, that's true. So you brought up your mom because it's kind of full circle for you to
Yeah.
kind of be back in that situation and,
Yeah.
you know, taking care of your mom. You know, obviously, I've already been a caregiver to your mom before a couple
You
times.
have, that's right.
When she had eye surgery and someone had to go out there for the month.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny too because there was like protocol that the doctor had to train me on to like clean her eyes and that sort of thing. And
Yeah, she has surgery on her eyes. Yep.
it's only in retrospect, and this is the amazing thing about life in general that I have found. It's only literally in looking at the past you can see the patterns that you would have missed otherwise or just didn't think were there at all. I would never have thought that being a caregiver to Lourdes' mom for 2 months, 1 month at a time,
Yeah.
would have prepared me for what it meant to be a caregiver for the woman of my soulmate. You know, until years later, you look in retrospect and you're like, you know, I did do some disgusting things for Lourdes' mom as far as cleaning that goop out of the eye and all that other stuff. So much so your sisters were like, nope, and they would leave the room because they couldn't handle it. And I don't have a strong stomach, you know, but I learned to power through it and to not think in those terms, I guess. I got pretty good at cleaning those eyes every day.
And I couldn't at the time because I was a host of a TV show
That's right.
called the Movie Time Showcase.
That's right. You were
Yep.
professionally doing your thing. You were working.
Yep. And then I had the whole deal with CBS
That's right.
as an actress, so
That's
I had to be on top of that.
Right.
You know, and I was doing shows and stuff, so I definitely couldn't do it at the time. But he stepped up as always
Mhm.
and took him, you know, and I think that's why my mom just loves you.
Well, that's what it took. You know,
I
no,
think it's because you just we're all easy to get along.
I try to be. So even now, I would agree with your sentiment. You know, I feel closeness to your mom because, you know, taking care of her the way we do. Fortunately, we don't have to like do any of the wiping her butt or anything.
No.
You know, I mean, that's not
Well,
what
she
it is.
would, yeah. Well, we would have if we got, you know, before I went out there. a month
No,
ago.
and that's a great
Yes,
point.
sir, yeah.
What 2 months ago that would have been a reality.
That would have been a reality because 2 months ago, that's what was her situation.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, she's
Helping out.
no longer in that state, when it came to her physical health and mental health. So it's improved so much.
Yeah.
And I want people to get clear too that in caregiving, as you're helping them to get back to who they are, it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you did that for 1 month, they're back.
Right.
You know,
It's a marathon.
it is a marathon, but you have to be willing, and we're willing.
Yeah.
Right. So, we just got her. I went out there in August 18th.
Mhm.
And I got back, was it
September
September 15th?
Mhm.
Because I was out there for a month. And, it's only been 2 weeks that we've been here.
Right.
But for that short time,
Mhm.
where she was at, which was completely vacant, not there, really, really bad, to where she's at, and she has her little moments, it's night and day. So you just have to know that
it's almost,
eventually you'll get to know moments.
yeah, it's almost odd in a sense that the if there is an argument, you can almost take solace in the fact that there's an argument. Like she's upset about something because she's cognitive enough to know that she should be upset about this thing. And you're
Yes.
just like, I mean, at the time it's frustrating. But
The time's
in
frustrating,
retrospect,
but
of course, you realize
you get it.
that's growth. That's something, she's
Yes.
conscious enough to know she wanted this specific thing and she didn't get it, and that bothers her. So
Yeah.
compared to where
Yeah.
she was, where vacant, the lights were on, no one was home.
Yeah.
We'll
And
take
no
it.
matter what happened, I mean, she wasn't really eating
Right.
much. It was like pulling teeth to get her to eat.
Yes. And to
Um,
sleep.
and to sleep. And they tried everything with her for sleep and stuff. So to see that we now have come and gone, okay, she now can walk. She doesn't need a wheelchair. She doesn't have accidents anymore. She goes to the bathroom without a
On her own.
problem on her own,
Yep.
no assistance. She makes her own toast and such. So when we're understanding those things, it's like we're very clear, right?
Yeah.
That she is getting to the place where she needs to be. Is she 100% right now? Of course not.
No.
I mean, you can't take decades of destruction to the body and then, let me see, from October last year to October this year, a year worth of being pumped with so many meds that destroyed
Mhm.
her mind, her brain, her memory. Like it destroyed everything. It got to the point where she could barely walk and she was falling from the dizziness. When you get to that point, you got to go, it's only been a month.
Yeah.
So
We'll
let's
take-
give it more of a time.
We'll
Yeah.
take our victories where we can. But I think
Yes.
what Lourdes and I have learned ultimately, and she's kind of speaking to it to a certain degree here, is that if you're a caregiver, you have to develop a massive level of empathy.
A massive.
Now, look, here's the story, guys. Lourdes' mom, since I've known her, has been a strong and fiercely independent woman.
Very
She
independent.
lived alone since I've known her. I mean, this is over 20 years ago. She lived
Yep.
alone. She did what she wanted when she wanted.
She made her own
She
decisions.
made her own decisions,
Yep.
absolutely. And so I've developed a real level of empathy towards her because look, if we're telling her that she can't go outside because she doesn't know the area and she will get lost, and that upsets her, well, guys, of course it does.
She's always done it.
Of course.
She has always had her independency of she didn't depend on anyone.
Right. My
She
point.
didn't on anything, whether it was bills or she took care of everything, down to her children. She did what she needed to do. She never had to rely on anyone. So for her to now be in a state where she had gotten so bad that she had to rely 100% on whoever had her.
For example,
Yeah.
today we were driving to get some food for tonight, and
Yeah.
she kept saying that she'd been at this house and she'd been at this restaurant before, and she'd been in this emergency room, and no, she hasn't. But the thing that I'm very clear on, and this is my free advice to anybody who's
Yeah.
finds himself in a caregiver: develop that empathy
To understand.
muscle to
Yeah.
understand. She has been to emergency room, so it's not. She's
So
not.
when she sees the sign,
She's
so
associated.
it's not like they have different types of signs
Right.
for these hospitals. All of them have the same type of emergency sign.
Jack in the Box used to be in Illinois. So when we went, well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name. Well, sure, whatever. Yeah, we drove by a Jack in the Box,
Yeah,
and she said that she'd been there before.
and she has been to one of those.
She has been to one before.
Right. So, the fact that she can look at things and recognize them,
Right.
the fact that there are homes and neighborhoods that do look similar to the
Yes.
places she has lived at.
Yes.
It is okay that she's saying that because all she's doing is starting to recognize things that are familiar to her.
Right.
When she was at a point where, whatever they gave her, she took, and whatever they said,
Yeah.
she wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? And so now it's like we see the difference. She's starting to get things. She's starting to feel better. It's progressively getting better.
Yeah.
It's not like you go, oh, she's still having these problems. Well, when I had cancer and I was fighting cancer, and as the cancer was going away while I was doing things naturally, just because the cancer wasn't gone yet, doesn't mean the cancer wasn't going away.
Part of my daily protocol when I had to go back to work because I was out of the Family Medical Leave Act time, and it was either go back to work or lose my job, which couldn't happen. The insurance was taking care of things for us. I got into a protocol where I would get up like 5 a.m. and I would make Lourdes' breakfast and I would leave it in the pan so that all she had to do was turn the knob to warm it up. Now, the reason why that's important for me to bring up is because just turning that knob at that point, Lourdes was in so much pain. That was excruciating for her to turn that knob. So,
well, it wasn't just that too. I couldn't even pick up a pan.
Right.
I mean, now I can pick anything up, but at the time
she throws them at me all the time. That's how much further she's gotten along.
It's so nuts.
But my point is that even then I had empathy for what was going on with Lourdes. She, to your credit, babe, I know you were miserable not being able to pick up a pan. A lifetime of cooking for yourself, and then your husband.
I mean, I'm used to I used to move things. We had to go moving by the time you got off of work.
Ridiculous. Half the house was already moved.
Moved to the other place. And that's where, and he's like, really? And this is when I was fighting cancer.
That's when you were fighting cancer, I know.
But because that's who I am. And that's my mom. My mom is a person where she just does things, whether it's physical or not, she would do it. And so when that stopped for her, at the time she didn't know anyway.
Yeah.
But now that she has knowledge, it drives her nuts.
So we're gonna take another break, but that free advice there, the thing I would ask you to develop if you are finding yourself in a caregiver situation is to develop that empathy muscle, make it strong, because that's at the end of the day, your understanding their situation makes your life so much easier.
Yep.
Okay. Sure, so we'll be right back. Super Digest.
Super Digest, one of the strongest digestive formulas on the market.
Yeah. And again, This makes sense, right? Dr. Newsom, but now you guys are seeing a theme, right? Dr. Newsom just does the best because that's what he does.
And when it comes to your digestive system, because that's where you get the most of, nutrition, you definitely want it to be amazing.
The top notch.
Yep. And this is like 10 types of active digestive enzymes to enhance your digestion of proteins,
fats, and carbs, as well as pineapple proteolytic enzyme and papaya proteolytic enzyme. Proteolytic. It sounds like an era of dinosaurs, doesn't it?
Yeah, proteolytic.
This dinosaur was found in the proteolytic era.
I just like saying proteolytic.
Yeah, that's actually our new word now. We're just going around saying proteolytic.
Hey, it's got pineapple proteolytic.
We never had to learn proteolytic until we met Dr. Newsom, and now we understand what proteolytic is. It's an enzyme that actually helps you break down protein.
And by the way, and carbs, and you need the enzymes to break down the proteins and carbs and the stuff that you need, because that's how you get your nutrition.
Right, and this one has like 10, right?
Yes.
10 of types of active digestive enzymes.
Active, there's a key.
Yeah, they're not sleepy. They're not sleepy enzymes.
No.
They're not just like, well, okay. No, they're active. They're running around.
10 types of active digestive enzymes.
So you want to go to www.drnewsom.com, look for Super Digest that my lovely model wife assistant is holding.
And by the way, the products we share, it's because we take them.
We're using them.
Because we love what it does for our bodies. It's really good. So you guys definitely, oh my gosh,
digestion is crucial to your health, and that's why Dr. Newsom has created this Super Digest.
If you have issues with your digestive system, you're going to want Super Digest.
That's right.
Yep. Super Digest.
We're back.
We are.
Well, now I feel bad that I said it.
That we are?
No, now I feel bad that I didn't let you say it because you went.
But I went along. See? You said we're back, and I'm like, we are. Wouldn't it be sufficient?
I know.
Oh, you gotta feel it, baby.
Now I feel like you need to say it now because you've got me all.
No. Yeah, I've learned, right, that when someone does something, you go with it.
All right. That's part of being a caregiver.
That's right.
Yep. So before we went on break, we did kind of talk about the empathy part of it, but I do want to talk real quick about Dr. Newsom's Super Digest.
Oh my gosh, love it. If you haven't gotten it, go to drnewsome.com, get the Super Digest, and check out.
Yeah.
Just say Lourdes and Chris, and you will get 50% off, because that's actually, oh, it's hard to say one of my favorites because, well, yeah, one of my favorites, but it's
No, but you know, per his detox funnel that he did a few episodes back, go to the LourdesandChrisShow.com to check out that episode. But per his detox funnel, the first step is to get that area moving properly so that everything else can then dump into it like it's supposed
because
to.
it is very important.
And you know, it's got those active enzymes, which you don't realize how important that really is. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, you don't. No lethargic enzymes.
Yeah.
No, ma'am. So yeah, Super Digest. We absolutely love it. Go to drnewsome.com and check out Super Digest. Use promo code Lourdes and Chris for your 15% off, and you know, get your gut working right so it can start working right for
That's
you.
right.
But we were talking about empathy before we went on break, and you know, the thing about that is even as empathetic as I am, or as Lourdes is, or as anybody is that's taking care of somebody else. I'll give you an example. When I was taking care of Lourdes's mom back when she had the eye surgery, this is years ago. You know, glad to do it, glad to be of service. Empathy was there. But man, your mom would come out and she looked in the sink and she saw a little bit of food at the bottom of the thing. She'd pitch a fit and make me stop what I was doing to clean up that sink. So it can be frustrating to be a caregiver.
Which, by the way, says a lot about her personality, because she was very
meticulous.
Yes, but down, I mean, almost OCD.
Yeah.
Like everything had to be spotless clean, nothing dusty, nothing dirty.
I did have to step up my clean game when I was taking care of her.
And it's funny because the more she was on these meds, the more that's part of her.
Oh, you're right. It declined. You're right. Yeah. That's a good point.
And it's like, that's odd.
It was shocking to go visit her that last time because her place was kind of messy. And it was just like, this is off.
So we did start seeing the decline. And it was the more she pumped these things in, the more decline she, you know, her health can become.
You know, and then even when we were a caregiver to our youngest daughter, Christina, after her brain injury, Lourdes and I found the partnership of each other to be what kept us going a lot of times, because it can be frustrating to have to get up every 15 minutes to help someone pee when they really don't have to pee. And
it was every 5 minutes.
Yeah, well,
yeah, because because her brain was still trying to repair itself. And for her, like even lotion, you put lotion on her hand, and no sooner than you were done putting lotion, she kept saying her hands were dry.
Right.
If you cleaned her nose, she would say no, she still feels something there, even though there was nothing there.
The Sahara Desert up there.
Yep. And then if you took her to the bathroom, because she couldn't walk yet, she was still wheelchair bound. So I had to hold like this thing and then take her to the bathroom. But it was like, no sooner than she sat there and couldn't go, she would sit there forever. And it's like, you can't go because you already went.
Yeah. Her brain was telling her that she had to pee because that's the wiring that was going on, was trying to repair itself. I mean, to this day, she still kind of has that to a certain degree.
But she at least can take herself.
Yeah, but she can just take herself right on.
Yeah. But at least it's not every 5 minutes.
No, and that's true too.
You're almost all night long. So I was very, very drained
because
I had no sleep.
Drained to the point where we got you a hotel room for one night just so you can get some sleep.
And
I healed that night. And we would take turns, but because I had a day job, because I had a day job, I could only really cover on the weekends.
Yeah, so that was really tough.
Yeah. And that's the point I'm trying to make, is that Lourdes and I were partners in crime on that one. Partners in caregiving.
Partners in caregiving.
Still PIC. Okay, so PIC, partners in caregiving, and that's what we're recommending that you do, is you go find yourself a partner in caregiving. Don't think that this is a solo mission. You know,
it is hard if you don't have a team with you, and it's really important, especially if it's your parents or your children or whoever, to have other family members or friends or whoever that really work with you to better that person. We can't get complacent that there's nothing we can do,
right?
Because the person that's going through that suffering is hoping that you will do what you can at the best of your ability to get them what they need to try and improve it. If you're trying to improve something and it doesn't improve, at least you try. But if you're just going, this is all we can do, and you're keeping them at that point where they're getting worse, you're really not doing them any favors. You're really doing a disservice.
Years ago, this is before Lourdes even got ill, I was a supervisor of maintenance at a mall.
That was
one of my hats. But while I was there as a supervisor of maintenance at this mall, we were doing some repairs. I don't remember specifically what, but what stood out to me was this woman was pushing her mom in a wheelchair.
Right.
And her mom said something to her. I don't recall what it was, but what I do remember is the woman flat out snapped at her and just like gave her the biz. And I remember thinking at the time, God, how horrible is that you did that? But it wasn't until I took care of Lourdes and I got frustrated more than once that I kind of was like, oh, I
Yeah,
got it.
you don't get it till it occurs.
Yeah, you don't get that it can be frustrating. And if you've got Mother Teresa being your caregiver, God bless you, because that's amazing. For the rest of us humans, though, it can be frustrating to be a caregiver.
Until Mother Teresa becomes a caregiver and then she loses it.
Then she gives you the biz. No, she famously said that one line, I know, God, you'll never give me more than I can handle, but I wish you wouldn't have so much faith in me.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of her perspective, and she was an amazing woman, and I can go on about that, but the reality is that we can all strive to be like that. And even right now, when Lourdes and I are with Lourdes's mom, our current opportunity for being a caregiver, we do have to be there for one another.
We do.
There are times.
I'm just like, I can't do this.
Mhm.
And not that I can't do this. It's more, actually, I don't even say that.
No, you don't use those words.
I'm just like, I'm going to the room, I need a break.
Yep.
And it's not nothing to do with her physical, because
No, physically she's
fine.
actually much
yeah,
better.
she's way better. She can take
She's
care of
going for
herself.
walks and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
She can go on and on, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's when there's a persistence, and I think it's because she's gotten so used to for so long arguing her points.
Yeah.
That's what she wants to do. And I hate arguing.
Yes.
I'm like, I despise it. I can't argue. If we're having a conversation, I'm okay with, but in our conversation, you want to start arguing, I just can't. So I'm like, going in my room, not doing it.
Yep. There are times I have to pick up the ball and run with it, take her out myself so that we can go to the park or something, go for a walk so that Lourdes can breathe and take a break. And then listen, guys, it's find somebody in your life that can be your caregiver while you're being a caregiver for somebody else. Find 4 people, find a community. We've often flirted with the idea, and maybe we'll still look into it, of creating a Facebook group for caregivers, because it's a thankless job to a certain degree, because
and it's important. And the thing is, it is important because I think that when you look at how many people are out there, caregiving, whether it's for their parents, most of it's a loved one. But I think they get overwhelmed and they feel alone.
Right. And you're not alone.
Not alone at all.
Right. Many of us have had this opportunity to step up for a loved one. So we're looking at starting how to get a group started so that we can be there for each other in that regard. If for no other reason, just to be a sounding board. Now, like, I had good friends at work that were just my sounding board when Lourdes was sick, and Christina too, for that matter. Where it was just like, they would just let me talk. And in the end, we were laughing, and I felt much better because of the conversation. And
sometimes
that's all you need.
Yeah,
sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
But definitely meditation and prayer have helped Lourdes and I immensely in this process. We take a moment to meditate and to pray, and when we pray, we visualize whole and complete for Lourdes' mother, which is its own reward, just to be able to visualize that and
visualize
that.
And consistently praying.
Mm-hmm.
And even in our prayers, we don't pray that she's healed,
please heal her, she's sick.
We think
that she's healed.
Right. And that's our way of doing it, because we're clear that that's how God accepts it. It's like you have to say it in a way where it already is done.
Right. If you keep praying for something to happen, and then you'll always be praying for something to happen.
But when you pray and give thanks for the healing of, and understanding that that's what's going on already, you don't need to say, this is what I want. This is what's so. Thank you for that. That's what we do.
And finally, what I would have to say, and I know this is true for you too, when it comes to being a caregiver, you have to find the gratitude in that. You have to find the ability to be grateful to be a stand for somebody else.
Yeah. And there is gratitude, though.
There is. I have gratitude. Absolutely.
When you look at the fact that you're taking an individual that's in a situation that is needed help, and you start doing things for them that improves their quality of life, and you watch each day and that they continually get better, that is so rewarding.
Yes.
that you know that you were able to help them in that way, that you understood that no matter what the situation is, the body is meant to heal. And if that's just helping them, being an ear for them,
Right.
or, helping them bathe or getting them something healthy into their system, whether it's supplements or foods or juices or whatever it is, but you're helping them to get to the next level of health. And you watch those little steps do something, it's rewarding.
It really is.
It really is.
Yeah. So we're going to take one more break.
One more break.
And then we'll come back and we'll kind of wrap this up in a nice little bow. We'll be right back. Check out Dr. Newsom.
Yeah.
Dr. Newsom's Inflamagon.
It's powerful anti-inflammatory botanical formula.
So this bad boy's got curcumin, and he gets that curcumin from organic turmeric root.
Yes, which is important. We want organic. And freeze-dried frankincense oil.
Freeze-dried frankincense oil is boswellic acid, actually. Boswellic acid.
I love these words.
I know. Our vocabulary has been so expanded since we started working with Dr. Newsom.
Yes.
And that's boswellic acid is important because it's one of the things that help you. It actually helps with inflammation, but it also is an inhibitor for tumors.
Yeah.
So
so why not prevent or get rid of if you have one of those things or you don't know you have it yet?
Yeah, right. And why just jump ahead of it? Because this formula is bound to Dr. Newsom's unique fulvic acid and humic acid.
Which, by the way, those two minerals that you really do need if you want to stay healthy. And it gives maximum absorption and anti-inflammatory action.
You're likely dealing with inflammation.
Yes, because most people don't realize that if you end up with certain pains and aches, that's inflammation. Inflammation causes aches and pains to let you know there's an issue.
And prolonged inflammation is really what causes these chronic illnesses, up to and including cancer. So
we take this as well, and it's amazing. In fact, real quick tidbit, even as a thin person, I always had this little pouch, but since I've been taking this, I'm like, I must have had inflammation because that little pouch is gone.
Goodbye pouch, no more punch. So you want to go to www.drnewsom.com, get that anti-inflammatory formula of his in Inflamagon. I love the name Inflamagon.
Like it's gone.
Inflamagon.
Inflam is gone.
We love it.
We do.
I'll let that one slide. We love it. We know that you love it too because look, inflammation is something that you really want to work out of your system right now.
Yeah, like if you want to avoid health issues, when you have too much inflammation just creates, and especially if it's consistently going on,
right.
It causes diseases, it causes illnesses. Who wants to be sick?
And you can trust Inflamagon because it comes from Dr. Newsom, and
we trust it,
and we love it.
And we take this sucker daily.
Love it.
We like to prevent. You're waiting for me. We are back.
And, I didn't want another ticket to a guilt trip, so I just let you say it this time. I know I'm supposed to go, ah.
No, you're supposed to go, ah.
You feel
we are back. No.
So, Dr. Newsom's Inflamagon. Okay, on a personal level, that's one of my favorite products.
Yes.
Super Digest and Inflamagon are hand in hand for me because I've dealt with inflammation issues, and it is immense how much it helps me, to not have those aches and pains in my body because he uses all natural ingredients. It's high and non-toxic, organic turmeric for the curcumin, and the boswellic acid from the frankincense oil. I mean,
there's a lot of it, and I enjoy giving it to my mom.
Yes,
because my mom had fallen twice.
Yes, that's right.
And in fact, a total of 3 times. But the thing was, is that, 3 times. And again, when you looked at the dizziness at somebody who's 80, that maybe that's not a good thing of a side effect for your,
Sure.
When you have 10 different meds and each one of those actually cause dizziness, that means you're 10 times more to be 10 times more dizzy.
That's why I said a couple episodes ago, throw more wood on that fire.
Yeah, and so, because before that, she was never dizzy, but then when you got all these that are giving you dizzy, it's like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah, weird how that works.
So, obviously, she fell, and on each one, she had really hurt her shoulder.
Right.
And the first time it got better. Second time kind of messed up and stayed kind of messed up. And then the third time, it seems like, I know even when I put my hand there, it almost feels like it's just broken up.
Yeah.
And so even though she can at least move it up, or she could move it because of the stroke where her hand was actually curved.
Right.
And 4 days after being on root brands, again, root brands, it's therootbrands.com/create option C, as you see here on the link. It's one of the things that helped her turn things around when it came to pain,
Right.
when it came to getting rid of all those toxins because of all those meds, and actually start the healing process because of the clean slate, the restore, and the zero end, and the mitochondrial defense, and relief greens, right? Those are the things I gave her on a daily.
Mhm.
I saw the improvement, but even with all that improvement, I noticed, and the moment I put my hand there and she moved it, I could feel like it was broken up.
Bone on bone.
Yeah, well, it was not even bone on bone. It felt like there was these, instead of being like two things, it felt like several things. So I was like, oh. And yet, when she was at the hospital, they've done x-rays and stuff, but it's not like they went out of their way to see if they can fix that problem, whether it was surgery, whatever it is, right? Or put something there where it can stay put, so no matter what she does, it's not moving those things around. It's keeping them there so they can heal. None of that was ever done. Yeah, they gave her something for her hand because of the stroke to keep it straight, but what they did for her shoulder, zero.
Okay.
I know I keep going on, but when I think of the stuff that they did, it really upsets me because it could have been taken care of.
So that's why you started giving your mom Inflamagon was to assist her with that.
Yes, and it really seems to be helping.
Well, certainly because there's probably inflammation in that area because of the breakage, and so this is definitely helping with the inflammation because that's what it's designed to do.
Yes,
yeah,
that's what we love about Inflamagon.
Absolutely. So we're at the end of the day, I think I agree with my mother's sentiment that I said at the beginning of the show. I would rather take care of your mom or anybody that we love or care about. I'd rather be their caregiver. I'd rather take care of them than to not have them in my life. And if that's the trade-off, I'll trade it off every day, all day, every day. I got no problems with that.
Me too.
And so I have found personal growth by being a caregiver with you and with Lourdes and now with your mom. Spiritual growth, my patience level has gone up, my empathy level is strong. Yeah, because those were the things I had to develop as a caregiver each time, and it's consistent. I still have my sounding boards. I still have people I talk to about it. I call my sister every now and then, and she hears me out. Things like that.
People over
we have each other.
We have each other
because we're a total team. So that's the thing. So I'm hoping you have something to take away from this. I just want to leave you with this thought that when Lourdes was at her absolute worst, and if you're currently as a caregiver and someone's getting to their absolute worst, and it feels scary, and I've been there. I feel you. I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
The mantra that I used, and I encourage you to adopt it and to really use it as a contemplative tool to really think about what it means. The mantra that I used was, right now, Lourdes is alive.
Yep.
And if you can get yourself to get to a place where right now somebody is alive, right now your mom is cognitive enough to walk on her own, to think on her own. You get what I'm saying? Right now is what matters. The fear comes from the future. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Regret comes from the past. Don't go there.
Well, you're wasting each moment when
Right.
you're going into the fear of something that didn't happen at the moment.
Or
When
regret.
you're going back to, you're wasting all that time when all that focus and time should be at now.
Right now.
It's just right now. Right now, this is what's so. Right now, I'm talking with her. Right now, we're arguing. Right now, we're eating together. Right now, I'm giving her a bath. Right now, I'm doing this. And those are the most precious moments because it's right now.
Right. Yes. And so right now, Lourdes is alive. I encourage you to adopt it to whatever you're feeling or stress. It helped me immensely as a form of meditation. And I recall at one time when you were in a coma, and you had flatline for a little bit. The right now Lourdes is alive thing was really difficult for me to get to. But once I did grab hold of that bar again, once I grabbed hold of that lifeline, I calmed down and I was able to move forward. So I encourage that for all of you.
Yeah.
As always, we absolutely love you for joining us every week here on the
Yes,
Lourdes
we
and Chris
do.
show. The new episodes come out every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So
Standard Time.
check us out every week.
Every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And then
So
we'd be remiss not to thank Dr. Newsom again. So go to drnewsom.com or newsomsnaturals.com. Use promo code Lourdes and Chris at checkout for your 15% off. If you haven't tried his products yet, you really should. They're amazing. You're going to see what we're talking about each and every week with this. And if you have, you already know. So get back on there and see what else he's got going for you, because he's got a lot of products.
he's got a lot of great products.
Yeah, blog posts, recipes, books, master classes, for crying out loud.
Yes.
The man, he's a dynamo.
Definitely.
So thank you again, drnewsom.com. Use promo code Lourdes and Chris at checkout for 15% off.
And make sure you guys go to our social media, right? On all these, you can click, like, and share.
Helps us out.
Yes, the more you share, the more we're going to get this information out to everyone.
Right.
Because everyone should have this information. We should be able to inspire each and every one on what they can do for themselves, for their loved ones, neighbor, or coworker.
We have some consistent sharers right now, and
thank you guys.
Thank you. We see you. We see what you're doing. We appreciate you immensely for doing so.
Yes.
I'll probably send them a personal thank you, but
I know.
it's still on.
Yeah. This will get long.
Yeah, we see you. We thank you. Also go to lourdesenchrisshow.com. Like I said earlier in the episode, you can see past episodes on there. If you check it out.
Yep, and there's also a donation button. There's actually 2 donation buttons.
Oh, sure. Let's not. Yeah.
So click on there. Your donations, honestly, folks, helps us to help others.
Right.
It's not just that it helps us on the show. It helps us at the time that we get constantly on a daily basis. We reach out, we get people that reach out to us and we help them specifically, personally, on a constant basis because of whatever they're dealing with or a loved one. And then we connect them with other natural doctors or things and recipes that we've done.
Books that we've read,
things that have worked for us, or, we connect them with where they need to be connected. But we can only do that if we have the time to do that. And we have the time because you guys donate, and it allows us to do that.
Absolutely. So yes. And for those of you that have donated and committed to donate every month, again, we see you. We thank you. We absolutely love you for that. And we love all of you for joining us on the Lourdes and Chris show. It really fulfills us in ways that it's hard to quantify, but we appreciate you every week. We love you. We see you. We'll see you again in about a week on Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because that's how this train choo-choos on down to the tracks.
It choo-choos right down the tracks.
That's what it does. Right on.
Sure do.
So again, love you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in about a week.